Hey everybody, I'm back with some more middle elementary to middle school math game options. Now that your kids understand what a number is and how to recognize it as a number and the concept of number, you might want to move up a little bit into some more operations games. Operations meaning adding, subtracting, sometimes multiplying, dividing. This particular pile is mostly games that look like math games. So if you're like, I need to justify that we actually are doing math, or if my kid really likes math, or you want to focus on something with math, your conscience needs to justify the fact that you are not doing a paper worksheet that day for math. And I just want to say again, we use this system and it worked for my youngest hands-on learner. She is great at math. She's great at mental math. She doesn't even really love games, but the idea of her getting out of doing a worksheet in exchange for this, and I would teach her the concept with a game, if possible, in the real world, and then go back, and she would finish everything super, super fast because she had already been introduced to it in a game. It made sense to her. She could dot the I's and cross the T's in her mind because she'd already tried it. Now, her brain is individual, so I'm just speaking from my experience with the one child. I have 4 children. I have one who particularly doesn't want to play any games like this. I've got one that absolutely loves these games and one that's fine with them. So, and then the last one, which is the one that I actually intentionally set about to use games for her school and had success with it. So, that's where I'm coming from, and I'm just going to give you some ideas that you might decide to add to your gaming list. Again, borrow if you can from a friend. Keep very good care of their copy of games and return it in, mint condition if possible. Also, games change regularly. The good news about a lot of kids' games is they do tend to be more evergreen, which we call, meaning that they're still available after years, but a lot of the game industry is changing all the time. And so I hesitated even doing a game schooling video pile because games just change. The prices change, and then they're like, oh, I need this game, and now it's only on eBay and it's $1 million. Don't buy the $1 million game. There's probably another game that does the exact same thing, maybe even better. But if you're throwing around the thrift store or you happen to come across one of these and you're like, yes, this is the one I saw, this would be helpful. Also, don't just take my word for it. We're an individual family. You're an individual family. Do some more homework research. Save yourself some money. Go watch someone else's review. Make sure that when you see multiple people reviewing the same thing, that it still lines up with your core values and your core goals for your children. Your goal, you set the goals out at the beginning of the year. My child is going to learn addition. And then you find the games that are going to help them accomplish that goal. Don't let the games tell you what to do. You tell the games what you need and see if it fits along with what you need. All right, so let's start with this one that I've been holding up here. Numbers League. You are superheroes. Well, you're building superheroes, laying out cards and fighting the bad guys by doing different math operations. It's super funny art. And then this expansion I grabbed has more cards to make more heroes, more bad guys, but also some like sidekicks and special ray guns and things that can help you change the math around. It's great for middle school, upper elementary school. It's got that cartoon excitement. You are not playing co-op. This one is definitely you against the bad guys, and you're getting points for how many bad guys you can take out. And so it's kind of a race against yourself in that respect. So there we are, Numbers League. And I picked it up more recently, I think last year, so it's probably still available depending on when you're watching this. So yes, we like this one. Our friends we lent it to liked this one. This is one that I tend to lend out quite a bit. So yes, this one has been good with boys especially, and the girls, they find it fine, especially if it's, sense of humor. So there's that. All right. But I would prefer, if I was to pick one, outnumbered. And in this one, you are also superheroes and you're also saving the world, but you are working together to fight against these evil little robots that are coming to attack your city. And because you're working together, I find it to be a little less stressful for the kids who are trying to solve the math, because the people who are on their team want them to succeed in the way that they're doing things. And so they actually help each other practice their order of operations. So it's usually multiplying, subtracting, and adding. There's not as much dividing practice in here. So if you're looking for that, then you might want to skip that. There's also a nice scan for the rules, which is great when you're trying to learn how to teach. It's not super complicated in the sense for like my family found this very easy to learn, very easy to play. Probably both of these games, Outnumbered and Number Leagues, are probably a 20-minute, half hour at the most game. Even the learning game might be a little longer, but in general, like it's not super chaotic. And the art is fun. And it's a little like you feel it, like they're coming. Like, quick, we got to do this and this and this. And my special ability does this and my special ability does that. And so you should use your special ability on this. So yeah, there's a lot of good conversations that happen around it. And by the way, you're doing math. So yeah, no doubt this is math. Okay. And we have Prime Climb. Prime Climb is a game where you are moving up a track in a circle, and each of these numbers that are solid colors are a prime number, and the ones that are broken up are made up of prime numbers multiplied together. So even if somebody doesn't know their facts, their math facts, they can still solve the equation about where to go. And then when you're rolling your dice, you're multiplying them or adding them to move up the track. I'm going to turn it around here to get to the center spiral. Oops, fell upside down. Woo! Magic. All right, so moving to the center here, and you're rolling. No, are you rolling? No, you're flipping. Are you flipping? I guess you're flipping. It's been a while, guys. I tried to get rid of this game. If you watch my Cole at the end of the year last year game, this was one of the ones I was going to get rid of, but my kids were like, nope, we like it. So that's a good thing. It says roll the dice, add, subtract, multiply, and divide your way to the center of the board, picking up prime cards. That's what it is. You are rolling dice, and then you get these cards. And bumping your opponents back to start. Land both pawns on 101 and you win. Ba-dum-bum. But, what is a prime number? A prime number is one that can only be divided by itself and 1. And that idea is much more understandable and attainable and eatable if you have a game like this for your visual hands-on learners that are like, why do I care? Well, you care because you can see how they go together to make these other numbers. And this can help them a lot with their reasoning and when they're working on their regular paper math, because they're trying to do their trees and they're going up and down depending on, where you're like 2 plus 2 times 2 okay, let me back up. If you're taking 24 and you're dividing it down to all the factors that go into 24, you're like, well, 24 is actually 3, 4, and another 2. So then you're like 3, 2, 2, 2. So this helps. This will show you visually that this is the 2s, the 3 all go together to make the 24. That's probably a nice math lesson for all of us today. I can't believe I remember these things. Okay, yes, so Prime Club helps me remember, and you remember, and your students remember what a prime number is. I found this at the thrift store. There are a lot of them running around. I would not run out and buy it new unless it's really on sale. But unless you're like, no, we really like this kind of game. I find this kind of abstract to be a little boring for me, but my kids liked it. So I prefer a theme, but this does what it set out to do in a fun way. Okay, so this one you may already have at your house, but not have thought of it as a math game. Sushi Go has been one of the most successful math games in our house for my youngest child. And she does all of the math for my character and her character, or my cards and her cards. And basically, pick and pass is exactly what it is. You have a deck of cards. Your other person or people in the game also have decks of cards. You pick one card and then you lay it flat on the table and then you pass the pile to the next person to pick a card. And there's different ways to combine those cards to get points at the end of the game. And so some of them are multiplication, very simple multiplication like 2s and 3s. Some of them are addition. And so that combination of addition and multiplication in a simple and useful form really helped her to bounce back and forth between those two orders of operation. I would say this is definitely simpler and a lot more fun than Outnumbered, but Outnumbered and Prime Climb, they cover the division and the subtraction, whereas this, I guess it has some subtraction because if you lose, this one particular card, if you lose some points. So, but yeah, it was great because she could do all the math for us. And when I said go grab a math game, this is usually what she went to get. So there is a Sushi Go party that can play more people, has different cards and stuff. But this is, again, something you probably grab at the thrift store. It's pretty popular, so it's still available in a lot of stores, a lot of places. Not super expensive. Game Right, same people that did Sleeping Queens, if you're familiar with that game. I talked about it in an earlier video about math for younger students. But yes, this is great. We love Sushi Go. All right. And money. Okay, so Money Bags is a great game for small, younger kids. I did not talk about it in the last video, but if you do need a game that I don't have with me, but we have played Money Bags. This one, big money, $10 zillion. What? Who wouldn't want to play with $10 zillion? You're buying and selling, once again, magic. You're buying and selling properties and stocks, and then selling, buying them and then selling them later. And it's a rolling game, and you just have stacks and stacks of money, but you're having to count by 10s and 20s and all the different things. And then you're realizing how expensive things are. So it's great for business. It's great because you get to stack of money, and the kids really enjoy making those decisions and getting frustrated with their dice not coming up the way they want them to. This is not super long. It says 30 minutes. I think we've made it last 30 minutes, 8 and up. Yeah, I mean, we played with 7. You have to read, right? Some of this 8 and up business is being able to read your cards and being able to be patient enough for other people to take their turns. So yeah, I would say this one is fun if you find it floating around. The kids get big giant grins on their faces. They really like this one for money. And then we have another one for money. This another entrepreneur / finance game, Mo Money. This one you are buying a lawnmower and you are upgrading your mowers. We find it very funny. Again, I tried to declutter this one at the end of last year, but the kids said no. And I said in that video I would keep it if they said they wanted it, and they said they did. And you are a landscaper paradise. Oh my goodness, Mo. My husband and I have owned a landscaping business for over almost 20 years. And so this fit. Well, I thought it was funny. He thought it was too close to home. So he was done. But yeah, I don't think it's as interesting and as fun as and easy to teach as pretty as Big Money. So, I mean, I would prefer Big Money because the stock stuff in there teaches something different. But when you're talking about how you start small and get bigger and how you work hard and then have to reinvest, it doesn't all go straight in your pocket. I think this is very satisfying. And if you do find it, floating around in the internet, it is older, so it might be harder to find. But it is one that we successfully use for math. All right, and then this one is actually my French copy because we're also studying French with one of my kids. For sale, same kind of concept. You're buying property with one stack of money, and then you're selling the property with another stack of money. And so you're trying to get the most profit at the end. So this is a real estate game with beautiful, I love the artwork, beautiful cards. I'm gonna say again, go over here. It's age, 3 to 6 players, 10 and up, 30 minutes. So this is where you're more adding in the real life math, very much math, right? Because you're bidding for properties with money and then selling and making back the money later on, hoping that you can sell your properties for lots of money. So yeah, math, but it's adding. There's not a lot of subtracting or dividing or anything like that in it. But, it does show how math works in the real world. You got that kid who's like, how come my money, when am I ever going to use math? Then you can drag out for sale and say like, here. And it's really fun. It's a really fun game. A lot of grownups really like this game, not just kids. And so sometimes it's nice to have a game that you as a parent enjoy playing because that attitude does definitely pass down to your kids. All right. Finally, what I have here is basic Poppet that we found for $5 floating around somewhere. And we use dice to roll here to come off the numbers on this side or this side and have a race to see who can pop down their numbers. And we use this for multiplying, dividing. We might say, okay, a goal is to get rid of everything with the lowest number. So you're trying to keep your Poppets for as long as possible. So you're dividing the numbers that you're rolling. Or multiplication. These are, trying to get rid of all these. We use these as the tens. So if I rolled 20, I could pop out 2 of those. Also, we like to use different kinds of dice. So we might use the regular 6-sided die, or we might use like a D12 or something in here to bring those about. So yeah, if you find something like this, Again, this was on the goodbye pile, and the kids said no thanks. In fact, they played it. One of the gals sat down and played it this week by herself, and raced herself between the two sides. So yeah, this has been an evergreen for us. And then fraction formula, I talked about that in the earlier video, but yes, I still recommend fraction formula for middle elementary to upper elementary age, especially when you're getting ready to study fractions. Just go back and check the other video. Should be good. And then finally, what I do not have in front of me, and I'm really sad because I lent it out to someone else, I have King Domino and Queen Domino, and that is my favorite game for learning about multiplication in the real world, where you're trying to, for small multiplication, like we're talking 2s, 3s, 4s, and working with maybe a larger number, but it's almost always multiplying by 2 or 3. And you're building grids and things like that. So if you're looking for more, when that one comes back, maybe I'll make a video just about King Domino and Queen Domino. But for today, that's probably long enough. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. And I will be doing one more video about games that are math but don't look like math. So look forward to that. And we look forward to hearing what math games you like to play and how math games have helped you in your homeschool. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.